tutorials. This video will go over how to order a SIP trunk in Triton Customer User Portal and how to add a SIP trunk in an outbound route in the FreePBX software to process calls to the PSTN network through our SIP trunk. First, to create a SIP trunk for your Triton Communications phone system, you must order a SIP trunk in the Customer User Portal. As you can see on my screen, I'm at the landing page of the Customer User Portal known as a dashboard. Please note my account is a test account for demonstration purposes. Continuing on, the first step is to order a SIP trunk through the Customer User Portal. On the left-hand side of the portal, you can see several tabs. The third tab down is a SIP trunking tab. This tab opens the settings where you can view your existing SIP trunks and create new SIP trunks. Clicking the My Trunks list, you can see several SIP trunks I've created in the past. For this tutorial, I'll create a new SIP trunk through the Create New Trunk tab. The two requirements to create a valid trunk are a trunk name and a valid IP address. The trunk name of this SIP trunk is going to be Triton, and the IP address is going to be 24.142.202.18. Click Create when complete. Now that we've created the SIP trunk, we are directed to the My Trunks list page where we can see the trunks created in my account. As you can see, the Triton trunk is on top, and the trunks are arranged by most recent on top to the most dated last. The ability to edit the trunk or delete the trunk are under the Manage column on the rightmost side of the page. The second part to setting up the SIP trunk for use on the phone system is to create a SIP trunk in your PBX. For this tutorial, I'm using the FreePBX software for my phone system. I have my FreePBX up and working on my second tab. This is a FreePBX 2.11 version. Hopefully you've been introduced to FreePBX in the past, or relatively some type of PBX system in the past, and you'll have a basic understanding of how the PBX system functions. In FreePBX, the functions are displayed under the Connectivity tab. On the left side is a list of the type of trunks available to you, and on the right side would be trunks that have been created in the past. This PBX does not have any created just yet, and today I'm going to create a SIP trunk and name it Triton. The completion of a trunk setup includes the trunk name, dialed manipulation rules, the outgoing settings, and the incoming settings. The next step is to enter the rules for what will match a pattern, and this is how the trunk will process the calls based on the matches. Fill in the dialed number manipulation rules as follows. For the first rule, enter 1 in the prepend, skip the prefix, and for the match pattern, enter NXX, NXX, XXXX. For the second rule, skip the prepend and the prefix and enter 1, NXX, NXX, XXXX. For the third rule, skip prepend, prefix, and for the match pattern, enter 0, 1, 1, period. Please note, above in the dial pattern rules, 0, 1, 1, period is for international dialing. 1 NXX NXX XXXX is equal to dialing a number with 1 plus the area code plus subscriber number. Entering 1 in the prepend field and NXX NXX XXXX in the match pattern field is in case the user does not dial 1 in the outbound call, the system will automatically add this 1. For the third part of creating a SIP trunk is entering the information for the outgoing settings. Enter the trunk name Triton, and for the peer details, enter the peer details as follows. Type equals, so you can see it, type equals peer, host equals sip.tritontelephone.com, Okay, please note setting NAT equals no or NAT equals yes depends if your PBX is behind a router with NAT or public. No equals public IP and yes equals private IP. As for incoming settings, enter from minus trunk, remove the following there, enter in type equals peer, and sign from minus trunk, and that's completed the SIP trunk settings. When you click submit, you're going to have a pop-up here that asks about your outbound caller ID. We're going to ignore this for now, it's not really necessary, so I'm going to click OK. At the top you'll see this red box that says apply config. Select that to apply all the changes you've made. And the third part of this tutorial is how to create an outbound route. The outbound route setting will be located under the Connectivity tab at the top of the page at Outbound Routes. The route name will simply be called Outbound. Next in creating an outbound route is to enter the dial pattern rules. The dial pattern rules will go as follows. First step, skip the prepend in the prefix and enter 0, 1, 1, period. Second rule, skip the prepend in the prefix and enter 1, NXX, NXX, XX, XX. And lastly, the third rule, enter 1 in the prepend, NXX, NXX, XX, XX. Lastly, the trunk sequence controls the order in which the trunks are used when the dial patterns match. The Triton trunk should be first, or should be entered in the 0 slot. After you submit your changes, press the Apply Config button at the top to apply your changes. And finally, we'll create an inbound route on this system to allow calls to go in and out of the system. Under the Connectivity tab, once again, you'll find the Inbound Routes section. Select Add Incoming Route on the right side of the page. Fill in the description. This is optional. I'm going to leave it empty for now, and I'm going to use a bogus number, just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that will be my DID, that is direct inward dialing number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And just note that if you don't have a DID, please go ahead and order one through the Triton Customer User Portal or port your DID in the LNP section of the user portal. Next, choose a destination for this number. When a call comes in, it has to go somewhere. I'm going to choose an extension that I have created, 5352. Go ahead and select the Submit button and apply your changes. Additionally, there is one last step that you should address if this is your first SIP trunk. Under the Settings tab in the asterisk SIP settings, first select NAT equals no and select public IP. This should match what you've done previously, but please consider how your system is set up. Next, scroll to the bottom of the page under Other SIP Settings. Enter in session minus timers equals refuse. Go ahead and submit your changes and then apply config to apply the changes. Now you've created a full system working SIP trunk that should allow you to make calls and receive calls. Thank you for watching.